All right, guys, I think we're live. Hey, it's Rick Ginn here. And today we are actually going to have fun. So I'm excited. We're getting ready to head into 2023 for wholesaling. And today we're going to talk about the 70% rule. And I've been doing this business wholesaling for 20 years, and I'm here to tell you why it doesn't work in today's market. It's such a blanket statement. And if you use it, I almost guarantee you will be out of business in 2023. So if you want to learn actually how to come up with the best way to make an offer and stop using archaic methods for like a just a one single method that you think that's going to fix everything, is I'm going to show you how it works. Because if I used the 70% ARV, I would not be sitting here talking to you today. So I'm going to tell you the roots and the origins and where it came from and why it doesn't work in modern wholesaling environment. You got to understand, at some point, people took square wheels and said, what if we chiseled them, make them a little bit more round? So I want you to think today about these 70%. We're going to chisel it down and actually give you a formula in this live right here that you can walk away with and confidently know that you can use it to equate if you want to do a deal or not. 70% is a simple yes or no, and 99% you're going to get no's from the sellers because it's just not realistic. And I'm going to show you guys, we're going to walk through it. So do me a favor. Make sure you use the comments. Let us know what market you're from. And if you have a question about wholesaling, put it in there. If you want to do a one-on-one on a mastermind, I actually do them for free. Me and Zach never charge for anything. Just do me a favor. You can go over to Wholesaling Houses for Real and you can click the link there. Or if you are on Facebook and you're seeing this, like, how do I do it? You just have to go into my YouTube, Rick Ginn, and click the link there. And if you're on the StreamYard and you can see it, I believe it is the top comment on there. You can put it in there and that will work too. So that's it, guys. If you are brand new to wholesaling, my name is Rick Ginn. I've been doing this going on 21 years now. And I want you to understand that wholesaling is actually very simple. It's just somehow human beings have complicated it. And whenever you have complication in it, either the government gets in your back pocket or a guru gets in your back pocket, or sometimes it's both. And I don't want that to happen to you guys. And I'm going to show you how to work this. So if you guys are not subscribed to this channel, please go ahead and subscribe now. It will notify you whenever I release new videos. I do a bunch of recorded videos on here that I don't share on any other channel. And some of you guys want to connect with the old guy. And you guys always have my son, Zach Ginn. You can connect with him. I don't take it personal. Heck, whatever is going to motivate you and help you out, I want you to go ahead and do that. And make sure, for God's sakes, make sure you smash that like button. I always told you I throw my ego out the window, but it does help gauge if we are connecting with you and if the material is working. And it helps people just like you find our channel that are being taken advantage and filtered by like so many coaches that want to take their money. Guys, I think there's more coaches than there are actual deals out there now. It's getting like real bad. So make sure you smash that like button, you subscribe. And if you guys are new to wholesaling, make sure you go over to freewholesaling.com. This is a course me and my son have devised. It has 27 years total experience in it. And we give it to you from start to finish, how to get your first deal by only giving us your email. In exchange, we walk you through how to do this. It's the most in-depth wholesaling course there is. Honestly, I could charge you 10 grand for it. The reason I do it for free, because I know the minefield that you guys are navigating. You ever get on a live with a guru and they tell you they want to answer questions? The problem is they can't answer most of your questions because it's hidden behind a door. And if you pay and become part of their, whatever you want to call it, wolf pack, tribes, community, whatever it is, that's the problem with the business. So you guys you're just going to get vanilla answers. And that's why so many people gravitate towards me and Zach. If you're a good fit and you like it, great. We can get you through your first deal, easily get you your first 100 grand. And then from there, I'm going to give you all the options in the world you want to do. Most people get super excited about wholesaling. they either pay someone or do something and they try it and it never measures up to what they were going to do. They feel left and inadequate and they leave. So this business has a 95% failure ratio. And the reason is because you guys are over marketed and you're under delivered on what's going on, and it's super expensive. Me and Zach have removed all that. So go over to freewholesaling.com. I think you'll enjoy it. And I promise you this, the only thing I'll ever ask from you is your email. If I ask for any more, then call me on it, because everything we do here is for free. Why am I doing this? Probably my number one question. Number one, I've been in wholesaling going on 21 years, and it's archaic how it's being taught. You guys don't have to pay just for basics to get started. Think about that. Did you pay to learn your ABCs? Did you pay to learn basic math? Wholesaling is no different. Wholesaling is the best. I'm biased. It is the best, most fundamental skill you can learn in real estate, because you can learn how to make money with little to none of your own money. And you can repeat this over and over, and you can create wealth. It is a job. You do have to work on it. But if you can consistently do this for 2 years plus, you will set your family free. You will get your financial freedom. I'm telling you guys, it's exciting. So I am a fully admitted ADHD. I can't even say ADHD. And I didn't even understand this in high school and middle school, but now I do. So I talk fast. Sometimes I'm thinking 2 and 3 sentences above. And I always thought it was a disability, but now I find out it's a gift. So sometimes if I step on you, just say, Rick, slow down. I get excited. I really love this business. I've been doing it for 20 plus years. So let's get into it. Maximum allowable 70% rule. So I would love for you guys in the comments, and God forbid, who has a deal right now? Actually, who has a deal right now at 70% using this rule? And I'm being vague here because there's like 10 different there's probably 100 different interpretations of this rule. And this is the problem with everyone using the 70% rule. Using the put in the comments if you have one, and we'll talk about it. I'm wide open because I've been doing this 20 years. The amount of properties that have fit the 70% rule, probably less than 6% of my deals total. I want you guys to think in, and I've done 3,000 plus deals. It's definitely not double digit. I would actually have to go and do some deep analysis, but I will tell you this. On the 70% rule that's genuinely taught, I'm going to go through it, less probably than 8%, probably closer to 5%. It's almost like a unicorn fairy thing. So if you stick to this rule, you guys just aren't going to do a lot of deals. End of story. Let me ask you, how many sellers just would take 70% of your offer? And remember, you're minusing off repairs. Guys, if I followed this rule, I would have quit my first year. And that was in 2003. So why are we still, I remember thinking, I go, that's ridiculous. Because in the end, what is the offer, your maximum allower offer? Who is it up to? It's up to 2 people. Number one, your seller. You got to get past that one. That's what we use this formula. And then number 2, it's got to be acceptable to your cash buyer. That is constantly moving data, and there is no set way. In an aggressive market, you could be more aggressive. In a tighter market like we're going into, you have to be much looser. So it's always going to be kind of going back and forth. And if you understand that, that's how all markets move. So let's jump into, and I'm going to do the calculations. And then if you guys in the comments, I would love to see, hey, correct me, Rick, that's not right. It's not working. And let's kind of go from there. So let's talk about, first of all, let me pull it up here. I'm going to give you a checklist. So here's what we'll do. We'll do the formula first, and then I'm going to give you the cheat sheet right after, and then we'll all openly discuss it. So if you guys want to jump on the one-on-one, get online. I kind of do it a first come, first serve. And if you have a question, just go ahead and plug it in there. So I got to keep you guys awake because we're in December. I know the holidays are coming up. Let's keep this ball rolling because I want to make 2023 your best year to date. So now, if Okay, I'm going to share my screen here before I forget to do this with you guys. Okay, so hopefully you guys can see that screen. So Joe says, so I see you guys commenting about, so I would love to see in the comments what you guys think the 70% formula is, because I can tell you it's all over the board. So Guillotine says 70% ARV. That's the formula he's talking about. Yes. So Jojo says 70. My course doesn't say that. I would never put that in my course. I thought it was antiquated 20 years ago. So, guys, if you want to join the StreamYard link, the link's in the top. If you're watching on Facebook, just go into my YouTube page under Rick Ginn. Make sure you're subscribed. And yeah, we are streaming this through StreamYard right now. So I'm trying to see here. Okay. The closing costs. So let's go through it. Hold on 1 second. I have to. Thank you. So we're talking about this 70% formula. This is the old school way. And if you guys want to run your wholesaling business, let me know how many deals you get doing it, because if you think you heard crickets before, you're going to see them big time now. Keep in mind, I run a regular wholesaling operation, 7-figure business. If I ran off the 70% number, I would probably have to call my business a day. Like, and you guys let me know if you think the same. So 70%, simply the formula goes like this. And we're going to actually do a math. So basically it says your MAO, I'm sorry, always thinking here. So it's going to be your, whatever the ARV is. And guys, put in the comments, I've seen a lot of crazy definitions of what people think ARV is. I've seen actual retail value. Somebody told me that the other day. I go, I don't think it stands for that. I think that comes from the Price is Right. So guys, let me know what ARV stands for, and then I'll write it in there. So let's do ARV. And I'm just going to throw out a random number of an average price of the house in the United States. Trust me, I know I cannot pinpoint every market. So $400,000 is the ARV. So that's right. ARV stands for after repair or after repaired value. Okay. It's that simple. I'm going to leave that up there so everybody knows. I appreciate it. I love when you guys help me out with this. So basically what you do is take the 400,000 and then you multiply it by 0.70. And I got my trusty little calculator sitting out here. So I figured that we'd be doing some math here. That's going to leave us $280,000, right? What's the next step? Because this is where most people screw it up. You ready for this? And guys, I'm going to teach you how you don't have to do any of this crap, because this is for the people that want the perfect offer and it's got to be accepted. This is like realtor stuff, but I'm going to tell you why it doesn't work. So 280, what's my next step? Somebody tell me what my next step is and I'll put it in. How do I move on with this calculation to make it work? Because just based on that 280, you do this, you will never, ever be back in business, because we have to know what do we have to know when we're fixing these? Boy, people are paying attention. I love it. So we have to minus off the repairs. Keep in mind, this isn't my formula. This is the one that everybody's been teaching for the last 25 years. So less repairs. Okay. So let's just assume $40,000 in repairs, right? And now we're down to $240,000, right? Now, what's the next step? What do we have to add to this number for us to come up with our maximum allowable offer to the seller? What is the one thing we're missing to make this formula complete? So don't worry about the date. That's just, I just jumped in here and automatically defaults to that. So apologize. Okay, so we've done the minus repairs And the next thing we have to offer off is, you're right, the assignment fee. So assignment fee. So let's just do the bare minimum, which I hate doing that, but $10,000. So that means your $230,000 MAO for a $400,000 house. Now, let me ask you, how many of you actually think you're going to go in and get sellers to agree to a $230,000 price? What do you think is going to happen when you go in with this number? Say, Mr. Seller, listen, the most I can pay according to my numbers is $230,000. And the seller goes, how in the heck did you come up with that number? What are you going to say to them? Because you're going to be put in a huge predicament. Are you going to say, my guru taught me the 70% formula and I cannot, that's the most I can pay? Guys, according to this number, this is the most you can pay. Do you know how crazy this number is? I get it. We're in a tough market, but I'm here to tell you, not only are you going to get a strong no, you are most likely going to get kicked out of the house. You're going to waste your time and you're going to tick the seller off. And most importantly, you're going to get a 0.0. That's how much you're going to get paid if you guys use this formula. Now, I'm not saying, there are people that will occasionally say yes. If I had to present this offer to 10 people, I guarantee you most likely 9.8% of them are going to reject it. And you are going to have to extrapolate some major offer numbers to get these numbers to work. Why? Because, guys, I do this business every day. I talk to a lot of wholesalers. There is no way on average, if you use this formula, it's going to work. So I want you to think about this. I'm going to fast forward to make this super simple. Let's switch to the cash buyer side, okay? We all understand that the 70% is going to get us a 99% rejection rate of no. It just doesn't work for the seller. And guys, that's the problem. It works let me ask you, of cash buyers, you guys tell me by a show of hands, is if you presented this deal to a cash buyer for $240,000, what percentage of cash buyers would accept that? If you had to run this by 10 cash buyers and go, listen, Rick, I got this house for 400. I'll give you 240. It's clear to close. You're ready to go. Are you in? What do you think they're going to say? What's a cash buyer going to say to this deal? You're right. Probably 95%, and the other 5% probably aren't cash buyers. They're going to say yes. Do you guys see the problem? The whole 70% formula is only geared towards the cash buyer, and it doesn't even consider your seller. And the reality is you really can't entice your cash buyer until you get your seller to give you a yes commitment. If I offer 70 cents on the dollar, I'm constantly going to be rejected to the point. Don't even worry about getting to the cash buyer. You all know there would be, yeah, it's probably like 10. Well, the other 5%, Rick, would be probably, they're not real cash buyers. So I agree with you. So this is the challenge. So understanding on the cash buyer, I'm going to fast forward on this. On average, this would give your cash buyer close to a 30% return. I believe it was like 32 when I figured it, but listen, a 30% return is phenomenal in flipping a house. That's a lot of money. So I don't want to go into details because it's going to take too much time. So your guys are probably saying, hey, Rick, what is the formula that works in your business and which is the one you have the best success rate? So I want you to understand that. Let's go through it. I'm going to show you the flaw in that offer system. First of all, it's antiquated. And number two, it really comes down to your seller and your buyer. In the end, that's what it comes down to. That formula is supposed to help you educate on how you do a maximum allowable offer. So if you want to use like a 70%, if you want to use a offer formula, this, in my opinion, is the modern correct way to do it. Now, It's my opinion. You take it for what you want. Like you can tell other people are going to argue till they turn blue. Okay. So let's take the ARV, 400,000, right? Now what I do is I minus the repairs off up front. Why? Because I want to figure out what kind of offer I'm going to make on the property in its current condition. So I'm going to take the repairs and I minus it off the top. Yes, I do it differently. It's just easier this way. And that gives us a value of 360,000. So MAO, guys, what does MAO stand for? Somebody put it in the comments, because this is the point of this conversation. This is why the 70% doesn't work. Do you realize on that 70% number I presented you earlier of 230,000, that's the most you can offer. The most. You don't have any room to go up. That's it. Take it or leave it, right? So man, I don't even know why I just let you guys do this. So you're right. The MAO is for the maximum allowable offer. The keyword here is max. It's ridiculous, guys. Just by minusing off the repairs before, you can get a much more accurate number. So let's go through this. So we're at 360. Okay. In our course, we teach you 0.83. Keep in mind, the key word here is max. I don't want you to pay this, but this is the most I'm going to let you even consider offering on it. Okay. So if we go up to the max range, that gives us 298,800. And then we're going to put our assignment fee say 10,000. I'm going to change that because what you ask for is usually what you get. I'm going to put 15,000. So that's 800, 13. So I want you to look at this. So you can theoretically offer 313,000 and change on this type of property and still walk away. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, sorry. I didn't minus it off. You can tell I'm doing this live, right? Sorry about that. Good catch. Okay. So we minus that off. That's why I use accountants, by the way. You can still offer 283,800. Okay. And the difference is, remember, this is the max offer. If you use your traditional 70% formula, you can only offer 230. I'm coming in right behind you. If I have to, I'm willing, in a good market with a lot of buyers and a lot of opportunity and good comps, I can go as high as 83. Now, we've just witnessed this in this current market. That's the maximum. Okay. The problem with the 70% rule, you guys are going to have, you're going to have crickets chirping all night because nothing's going to happen. It's absolutely not going to work. So the difference is between an offer of 283 and 213, whatever it was, on the 70% guru formula. Now keep in mind, the key word here is max. The problem with this 213, you're going to have a 98% rejection rate, probably 99. End of story. Let me clear. Sorry about that. Okay. The key word is max. So many of you guys think like that's the rule. So the problem is, so if your 283 gets rejected, can you go up in the offer? No, but that's the most you pay. If you want to put 70% and you can get it, it'll work. Here's what I want you to understand. And I'm going to share with you some more numbers here. And don't worry, guys, this is recorded. You can come back to it. So this in my opinion, if you take the ARV, you minus the repairs, and you multiply that on a range of numbers that actually make sense, and that's between 0.7 and 0.83. This is the max. And honestly, you could actually get this down to like whatever you want it to be. But 0.7, honestly, that's like saying, listen, you can go out there and buy any Rolex watch as long as you get it 50 cents on the dollar. Do I really need to tell you that rule? It's a given. So knowing that, this is your simple, what I call modern day offer formula, and it works. The key is that's max. With the 70% formula, the difference is you take the ARV, you multiply that by 0.7, and then you minus off your repairs. And by the way, on both of them, you're going to minus off your assignment fee, and then you get your maximum allowable offer. Just so I don't get misquoted here, let me put this out correctly, because someone's going to say it. Times whatever number you want. And so you could do this at like 0.8, which I think is a good max number, but it depends on the market. And then you're going to minus off your assignment fee. And then that gives you your MAO. With this one right here, you're going to get, it's only catered towards the cash buyer. So I want you to think about it like this. Here's the reality. So if I have a spectrum here and say this is the 70% formula that was created in like 1982, and that's the truth of it. I went back. It comes from like 1982. And then let me ask you this in the comments. If you were selling your home and you had issues with it, and you say you didn't want to deal with a realtor and you wanted someone to buy it cash, what percentage would you minimum expect if you had to deal with someone like me or like an open door or anything like that? Put in the comments there, what do you think what the percentage would be on the offer? Like, so if they're, say the house is just 200,000, what percentage of a discount would they expect to sell it quickly to a cash buyer? Like a dream scenario. I'm not talking like where it's going to wind up. What do you think that percentage is? And the reason you want to understand this is you got to understand the balance between the seller and the buyer. If you are going to go off this 70% formula, who do you think it's geared towards? It's geared 100% towards the cash buyer's needs. And probably 95% would say yes. That's where we are. Love it. Solves all your problems. The problem is, how many deals are you really going to get doing that? So I would love to, and by the way, I love Carlton Sheets, and actually his whole family's in the neighborhood where I live. So the dude had it right back then. Nobody gave him credit for what he did, and I think he's amazing. So his son is around here in Florida. So he is actually an investor that buys, actually very active. So they had it right. So I'm going to answer the questions on it. The reality is typically when my people, and then I spent 7 years with this, is the seller typically wants 90%. Okay. They're figuring about 6% for the realtor, and then like another 3% in closing costs, and probably a 1% negotiation. So most of the people you meet, they're usually going to play with you about 10% because they know there's no way to get around those costs. Even if the realtor gets them what they want, those numbers are coming off of it. So don't you agree there has to be some sort of medium that you can figure out what to do? So when we wind up at, if you figure, we're not talking about splitting the difference. So don't start that one with me. I want you guys to win and make as much money as you can on every deal. But if you don't have any deals and you're constantly beating your head against the pavement, it means if you're going to stick to the 70% rule, you're going to get killed in this business. It worked for a long time because there was not a lot of rules. There wasn't a lot of data. And for the most part, I want to everybody hear me out. If you can get a house 70% off the ARV and then minus off the repairs and get the number you need less your assignment fee, do it. It's a guaranteed deal. The problem is you are going to struggle with all your sellers and you'll get close to 100% compliance to your cash buyers. I would love to do it. The problem is I in modern today can't get the sellers to accept 70% unless there's something horribly, horribly wrong. And I still have to compete with everybody else. So the reality is most of our offers wind up somewhere between 76% and 83%. This, my friends, is the honest to God truth. This over here, it happens and you celebrate it, but it is a rarity. And if you're going to build a business off a extremely rare event happening, you are going to be out of business. It's just the truth. The reality is, here's how I look at it. If I can limit my risk and somebody wants to pay me more than what I have my contract for, and I'm not driving myself nuts by canceling contracts all the time, I'm in. I don't give a crap if I'm paying 88%. If somebody wants to pay more, like we've been through this recent market, I get it. The market shift, 83% is going to be aggressive. A lot of you are going to wind up between 76 and like 80 to 81% in the reality of these. Okay. So now we're going to talk about a mind shift because this stuff hurts my head. I'm getting ready to puke. I just did so much math in my head, and my algebra teacher would probably be proud of me to even get through this moment. So let's talk about this. I'm going to do that same graph here, and I want you to visualize this. This is your MAO, right? Maximum allowable offer. On this side is your least allowable offer, LAO. And by the way, I've coined phrase it, so if any other guru use it, you know where it came from first. So the problem is, you ready for this? Every one of you are being taught to find the perfect offer. Perfect offer. Why? Because you want a yes on the first try. You don't get a yes on the first try. If you do, you paid too much. And that's 90% of you guys' problem. If you got a yes on your first offer, you paid way too much. So we spend all this time creating these offers and doing this math. And the biggest challenge is finding out the correct ARV. If you can dial in the correct ARV, you can figure out what to actually make an offer, at least the most you're going to pay. But the problem is we spend all our time trying to figure out how much to offer, when in reality, it's like, listen, I'm probably not going to go above this number. But if your maximal allowable offer, and how we teach it, is say 83%. And honestly, that's going to be challenging in today's market, probably closer to 80 to 78, something like that. The reality is you should be on this side. Forget 70%. Okay. You need to come in and figure a 50% offer. Why? Because what you're truly interested in is, so many of you are trying to make this perfect. Oh my God, I got to get a yes. When the actual destination to get a yes is no. If you go for the no, they will come back and give you what? A counter. A counter is something you can work with. Now you have hard numbers that you can either reverse engineer the math to see if you can get a profit by putting it under contract and selling that contract to a cash buyer, or maybe they're just the number's so far out that you just can't make it work. But we spend all our time trying to get this when, if as long as you build rapport and you'll connect with people, you can go in and do the go for no offer. So if a house is worth 200,000, go, listen, I know I'm probably reaching on a straw here, but would you consider $100,000? And shut your mouth. And then they're either going to say no and kick you out, which is rare, or they're going to say, no, I can't take less than this, or we have this issue and we can't go below this number. Now I have a number and now I can start the real negotiations. Stop spending all your time here. This is what's going to drive you out of business. You're trying to make everything perfect. You want a yes, you need a no, so you can get what? A counter. Once you have a counter, then you can actually negotiate with people. But going in on a 70% rule, I guarantee you rejection. I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Number one, it takes, hold on, let me get out of this. It takes a lot of experience, which most of you don't have off the bat, and that's okay. That's going to be your weapon of destruction, because you're going to be enthusiastic and you're going to want to help people out. But the reality is, if you don't go for no, you are always going for a yes. And if you truly want to get to the yes destination, you actually have to use the no by going for no. You see, you can simplify it. I already told you, if you spend more than 10 minutes doing your ARVs and calculations, if you use the 70% formula, you are going to be sitting there calculating for hours on hours. And the reality is, you don't even know how motivated your seller is. So for you, you have to use the go for no technique. If you don't know how to do it, go over to freewholesaling.com. I teach the whole thing. Guys, we've got to bring some sanity back into our markets. And I'm telling you, it's it just drives me nuts on this, this whole, like, let's just 70% rule. By the way, on average, I've done the study, on average, on a 70% rule, you're leaving you know what? I'm going to show you. By using the 70% rule, your cash buyers are going to be yielding a 30 to 32% ROI. In the comments, ask if you think that's acceptable. Do you think that's like, is that bare minimum? But guys, 30%, there's very few things in this world you can get a 30% return on. And here's the other thing, the 70% rule like drives me nuts. You ready? By the way, most cash buyers, their targeted ROI, because I am one and I buy stuff, is 20 in today's market, in a rough market, 20 to 25%. When you go off the smoking market, we just got it was low as 8 to 15%. So we've shifted from 8 to 15% ROIs on cash buyers from 20 to 25. Guys, that's it. That's the only thing that's changed here. And you guys are using these rules that are absolutely crazy. So real quick, I know I'm giving you a lot of information. I still got to finish you up with numbers. So offer 50% of the ARV, that would offer be lower than 70. You're right. Here's the difference. It's how you do the presentation and build it up. My initial shoot over the bow is not a finalized maximum offer. Do you understand that? 50% is a starting. So EJ, understand this. If you do the 70% rule, you're done right here. You cannot progress and make a bigger offer. You're done. You're done. You're trying to get a yes on the first shot with no negotiations. And that is the problem with the 70% rule. They're treating you like a transaction. The reality is you have to talk to people. You have to spend time. You got to build rapport with sellers. And then you got to get intel and gather data from your cash buyers. And the idea is you have to figure out what both parties want and find a compromise where you can make a healthy living and solve problems and make everything work. 70%, you're going to get rejected most of the time. The way we offer it, I know I'm at, so if I go over here and I do 50%, remember, this is the max. What's my max? I told you, if the seller's at 90% and your range is between, say, like 75 and 83%, this allows you to keep going up. And what it will most likely do is draw out a counter offer. So I want to get a counter from the seller. And when they give me a counter, it's probably going to wind right about here and there, somewhere in here. Now, what happens here? It's called negotiations. The 70% rule doesn't want to negotiate. You are actually going, it's like going to McDonald's and picking out a number 1, 2, or 3. How many times do seller goes, okay, I'll just give you the house 70 cents on the dollar. Oh, you want to minus off repairs? Do that. Oh, you want to minus off a assignment fee? Let me ask you, if your 70% rule offer gets rejected, how are you going to counter? You have no room to do anything. You're done. What do you just walk out? You might as well email it, guys. It would be easier and more efficient. So the idea is everybody wants value. They want this. You're here. The reality is you have to have a conversation. You have to have rapport. And most importantly, you got to figure a number that works for everybody. Now, I'm not telling you to be a realtor. The 70% rule worked. Guys, if you get 70%, do it. The rule works. The problem is the rule is 100% catered towards cash buyers, and it's not going to consider your sellers at all. And that's the problem with it. So what I want to do is, let's see here. These are good observations. So try 60%. It's funny. So let me go through and give you some basic other rules that are often overlooked. Now, as a price gets bigger, the 70% rule gets more distorted and even more out of whack, because think about it. If you had a $500,000 house that needed $100,000 of repairs, you would take the offer and say 500,000 times 70, that's 350. Say it needs $50,000 of repair. Now you're down to 300. How many sellers are actually going to go for that? It's very few. And the problem is the 70% rule makes you a robot. It doesn't take in consideration other than the cash buyer. So the 70% rule should be like the 100% guaranteed cash buyer offer that will work every time rule. That's what it is. So as the numbers get bigger, it gets more contorted. So let's talk about this again. Okay. I'm going to put something on the screen. Guys, don't worry about writing it. You can go back and watch the replay because it's going to be a little bit much, but we only have so much time here and I want to talk to you guys. So the thing I want you to understand is the ARV minus repairs at 70%. If the value is under 120K, it'll work. Okay. If I'm in points of like Detroit, all of pretty much Ohio and stuff like that, when you have small values, the numbers get real tight. And I want you to play with these. You don't have to worry about it right now. So at 120K low, you can push that 83 as low as 70. And we have this it's all in freewholesaling.com. Or you can get it off this live here. You can do whatever you want. Now, when we go up above 120 to 250, we typically targeting that number on our offer formula around 80. And guys, it is a max offer. When you get to that point, you go, man, if I can't get headway with the seller, I'm not going to waste my time on this deal. It's not a take it or leave it type of deal. It doesn't work that way. And that's the problem with the 70% rule. A lot of people think that's the law. Either they take 70 cents on the dollar minus repairs, or we don't have a deal. The problem is that's like a needle in a haystack. And the last 100 deals I've done, I've had less than 5% of them be like that. It's just the truth. If I sat back and did, I'd still make a bunch of money, and I wish everyone would take it, but it's a wish list. It's not reality. It is a cash buyer's dream. Most of the sellers are going to reject it. And that's why you have to put a brain in when you make these offers. You cannot be a robot. It's not going to work. Now, when you go above 250 in your markets like California and New York, it's very, very, very rare, in my opinion, from what I've seen, is to get less than 83%. Sometimes I've done them lower, but the reality, as the number gets larger, the numbers get much more skewed. You have much more advanced sellers, and they're going to demand more money. Test me out on this. I'm telling you. I went back. I had Zach help me do this. We studied. We picked up. We looked at 100 wholesaling deals. I think we've done it within the last 2 years because I didn't want to spend hours and hours researching everything because I have to pay an accountant to do that. So, ready for this? The average on the deals when the cash buyer bought it and they cashed it out, because you got to go back and look at after you sold it on assignment, or however you did it. They averaged about 40 grand. Okay. And that put them at an average number of 15 to 20% ROI. Remember, we talked about this. If you use the 70% formula for the maximum allowable, that means every one of your cash buyers is probably going to make between a 30 and 32% profit. And if you use that, I just, honestly, if you buy 70 cents on the dollar and then you might call me, I'll buy them all day long because I know I'm not going to get a phone call. They're very rare, or you're not telling me something about the deal. And this is why I'm trying to tell you. The reality, guys, is you don't know how much your deal will sell for. Stop trying to predict the complete unknown and go with what you do know. You know you have to build rapport. You know that you're going to get to a yes destination. You're going to have to use a no. So use it correctly. And when you get a no, that is a counter. And that's where you start negotiating. Or if you're going to use the 70% rule, the other closing technique that I was taught, and it worked when I started, is, hey, Mr. Seller, if I paid all cash and closed quickly, what's the least amount you would take for this property? And then after they give you a number, go, is that the best you can do? If you do that today, I guarantee you're going to get kicked out of all houses that you go in. But guys, this is the bottom line. Sellers don't care about your MAO. They don't care about the 70% rule. And honestly, the buyer doesn't either. On average, buyers want to get a return. They want more in today's market. And I love it for that. But I look at, like, I buy lots of real estate. I'm not a fix and flipper, but I have people that will do that. But I'm a silent partner because I don't want to manage any of that crap because I hate it. But like when the deals I'm involved in right now, I'm happy at 20%. Like in today's world, I'm really happy at 20%. It's all predicated on the risk you want to take. And the risk, I can't put this on paper and do this underwriting. The reality is you have to find highly motivated sellers. And how do you do that? You just got to go in at the LAO without getting kicked out, and then you can work your way up. If you try to get the yes and get the perfect offer and you don't want to negotiate, then go ahead and use the 70% formula. And just, let me know what you want to do for a living, because most wholesalers, you talk to them on average. Guys, I've done deals and paid 98% of what I considered the ARV. Why? Because I had somebody who would pay me more for the property, and I was mitigating my risk. And even the seller knew that I was risky if I was even going to close. Because the reality is the higher we got to go up in the price, the longer you have to make your contingencies period, because I don't want to be obligated to closing on something that's not going to work. So if it's not going to work for me, it's probably not going to work for my cash buyers. And that's it. So guys, this is it on the 70% rule. Guys, there's a lot of rules in life and a lot of things that start out and things just progress over the time. I'm not trying to get cute and fancy, but if I taught this to my staff, I'd be out of business. I would actually have to go out and coach you guys. I would have to charge you ridiculous fees. And then I would tell you, you got to use this formula because it works. And the reality is that's how a lot of coaching works. They use outdated formulas that don't work today. At the peak of the market we were doing as high as 85, 86%. Now we are sub 80, but 70, no way, not even close. So our last few deals, our best deals is around 75, 76. and we did really nice, healthy assignment fees. We worked much hard. We're working much harder on the cash buyers. So AOS, should we offer less than prices are expected? If you use the LAO, then you can find out what the least amount your seller would take and save face doing it. Yes, we're going to pay less. What you need to really do is spend time with your cash buyers and find out what they're willing to pay in certain areas for certain types of properties to figure this part out. So, Cody's cranking along here. He's got 5 booked appointments. Still waiting for his first deal. Meeting him all the weekend next week for the 2 of them to come. So just Cody's going through the normal learning process. I think I spoke to him on the live. He's doing fantastic. The difference is he's taking the action that he needs to take. So guys, disregard the screen behind me. So something, I think I hit a cable or something. So I think it's kind of colorful anyway. So, so somebody asked me to put the ARVs and all the stuff I went back through. Just this is recorded so you can refer to it, or even better, go over to freewholesaling.com. Everything's in the course, guys. I promise you, the only thing I am ever going to ask you to do is give your email, and you're never going to have to exchange data or do anything like that. So, okay, let's see. So Cody, hop on the live. Let's talk, man. So, you can guys be inspired by Corey. Corey started out just like Cody did, and he just built up his confidence model. And now the guy's he's phenomenal in what he's doing. And Corey doesn't even understand he's just scraping the iceberg. So I just love helping people out in this business. I'm one of the rare people that all I want to do is help. I'll figure the money out later. I don't have to figure the money out later because I already have it figured out. I've been doing this 20 years, guys. I actually enjoy this. And I see this stress level of people just, I got a coach. I did 3 deals. I got a coach. And then you got the coach of the coaches. I think there's a coach of the coach of the coach of the coaches. And listen, I'm all about learning and stuff, but I didn't even tell anybody what to do until I got 10 years in the trenches on this. And I'm a little bit slower of a learner. I'm the first to admit it. But when I figure it out, I go much deeper and I go much harder. I find most wholesalers on average, and this is probably going to upset people, but you take it a wholesaler, most wholesalers after 3 to 4 years, the ones that actually get successful, they leave what actually made them the most money, which was wholesaling, to go on this dream to coach people, because I can charge 5 to 10 grand a student, and it's much easier and it'll be so much more fun. They all quit in the end because they will make more money, but they'll drive themselves nuts. Because what did they just exchange? I've already told you, wholesaling is a job. I don't hide it from anybody. It's a job to get you out of something. It serves a purpose. And if you want to continue to grow with it, dynamite. You can grow it into a business. And then if you want to go open your own surf shop or something like that, get a wholesale team and have them run your business. And then you can oversee everything. But here's what people do. They go out, they try this thing, and then they all get students. Nobody ever doesn't get a student because there's some reason everyone pays these people. And they're just trading their time for money, and they all burn themselves out. Why? I've been in this 20 years. You know how many coaches, from when I started where I am now, most of the coaches right now started in 2013 on. They've never seen anything like that's going on. Some of them will make it. The ones that actually do a business will survive, but the ones that have no idea what they're doing and they're not wholesaling, they're going to get destroyed. But the bigger problem is they're going to teach you all their bad habits, because anybody can make money in a upcoming market. A downcoming market takes a whole different person. You have to have discipline. You have to understand the basics of the business. So if a football team's losing, like my Miami Dolphins have lately, which is painful, they need to go back and learn how to do basic blocking and basic tackling. Stop worrying about all the option plays, the RPOs. Can, my God, somebody on the Miami Dolphins just tackle somebody? If I was running practice tomorrow, I would just say, everyone's fired from the team. Everybody's got to earn their spot up. And if you don't tackle, you're out. The same thing is happening in wholesaling now. Either you are going to do an LAO or you're going to chase the MAO. Decide which one you want to do. I can tell you how long your longevity is in this business. So, So, okay, let's jump on and do some lives here and let's go. So, guys, and we'll ask any questions we want to do about MAOs, anything like that. I love my background screen. It's kind of like old school, which is actually perfect for what we're talking about. This is what I saw in the 70s when stuff popped up, or I had like the squiggly lines going through it. So, Crystal, you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you perfectly. How you doing?
I'm getting nervous. This is my first deal. I just quit my corporate job last month, and so this is my first.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm
What
freaking out.
what did you used to do?
I was a contract specialist for a major company.
Ah, how long did you do that
I
for?
was a paralegal most of my career.
Wow. Okay, awesome. Okay, what can I help you out with? What's going on with your deal? Did I lose you? Crystal. Crystal, I think I lost you. I'll hold on for a minute. And if not, I promise you I will come back. So, okay, I will jump back. Say, you there? I know you're there.
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Long time no speak.
So
what can I help you out with today? What's going on?
Yeah, so I'm transitioning from reverse driving for dollars to cold calling because last week on Friday, I had a visitor, the cops. They came to my door and they were like, "You can't be soliciting door to door." So
I got it. So, what town are you in again?
I'm in Albany, and I'm focusing on Schenectady County.
I got it. So I know we talked about this last week.
Yeah.
I won't bore everybody with the details, but I told you it'd be a little bit challenging to even upgrade the numbers you're doing now, and because they have this little thing called winter going on up there, and it's not super fun right now to even go door to door, even if it's illegal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they were nice about it. They just told you to stop, or there's going to be consequences, right?
Yeah, basically.
Okay. What are the consequences? Did you find out?
Just like fines.
Yeah. So the challenge is, though, how did they know it was you?
They ran the license plate.
Oh, so somebody probably got your license plate, wrote it down, or they got it off like a Ring camera. Yeah.
Yep.
See, guys, I keep telling you about these Ring cameras. They have really changed how we do door-to-door sales, and the Ring's probably the biggest reason why even doing a reverse driving dollars, because if you do the traditional knocking on the door, everybody will come out there and probably take a picture of you, your car, and your tag.
Yeah.
So actually, that's good advice. So my advice is to you is I wouldn't push it any further. It's just there are some towns that's against you. By the way, in my town, I have the exact same problem. So we rotate a lot of people to to counter it, and we know there's better times than others. And then we also park the car in key spots. But I don't want anyone to break the law. I'm not here to like cause problems. If you get someone that gives you a stern warning and you can verify that it's a problem,
yeah,
then you got to make it.
I was thinking of getting a solicitor's permit, but then I was like, that's gonna
I wouldn't do it. It's even going to be worse. It's going to put you on record then.
Okay.
So it is what it is. The only thing you can do is for that technique, you can shift over to a different town, or you're just going to have to pick another median to connect with your sellers.
Okay.
I can't change the law for you. If I could, I would.
Yeah. So I decided to focus on cold calling. I seemed like that was the best thing. So I'm focusing on Zach's 10,000K per month action plan, and I did the numbers today, and I don't know if it seemed like it's really bad. So I contacted 900 people, got one lead. She said that her husband's gonna call on her husband's gonna call me back on that one lead, and then there's 3 no's, and I left 40 voicemails. So I don't know.
So how many contacts did you make in total there?
Yeah, so I made so 900 contacts, 40 voicemails.
So you made 900 calls.
Yes.
40 voicemails, and then you had like really 3 or 4 contacts total?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not the cold calling expert. I don't do
Okay.
it. Um, I'm not. Cold calling works very well. It's just not in
Okay.
my DNA to do it but Rick, you'll go and knock on people's doors. So I know it's kind of ironic. It's just I'm a people person on the phone. It's harder for me.
Hmm.
And I went through an era to have to do it. Now my son, I told him, I go, man, we don't really do cold calling effectively. If you could help do it and then lead a team, we could do some serious damage. I was dead on that one. So
Right.
I don't want to give you bad information. I know that number is wrong. So the only thing advice I can do is you need to look at your lists that you're pulling, and then talk to the data provider. If are you using Batch or who are you using?
I was pulling from PropStream.
For the skip tracing?
Uh, I was pulling the list from PropStream and skip tracing in batch leads.
So the first, have you reached out to Batch and asked questions about it? Because you got to share the numbers with them and just see if you're missing something, because
Okay.
that is, so number one, start with your list. So
Okay.
without getting into detail, you need to, when a marketing campaign fails, especially on cold calling or SMS,
Mhm.
always look to your list. Your list is usually going to be the number one suspect. Every now and then we make mistakes on our list. I've made I've made $15,000 mistakes. I just
Okay.
got lazy. I was trying to do, and guys, here's a marketing tip for you guys to understand. Whenever you're pulling a list, especially if you're new to it, and honestly, even like I've been pulling lists 20 years, I still make mistakes. Or I teach people to pull it for me, is you have to pay attention. Because once, remember, we're scaling it. So if I get a list of like 10,000 people and I click the wrong filter and I didn't double check it, that means if I mail to them or anything else, I cold call, the cost of the
Mhm.
skip tracing, the postage, everything, not only is it going to be painful past, because the list, the reality is included in your subscription. So it's not a big deal. I get 10,000 anyways. We get lazy and sometimes we screw stuff up, especially if
Okay.
you've never done it before. Just get some help, some advice. And by the way, the reason why we recommend Zach Data and List REI is because they're big companies, and they're a company you can actually pick up the phone. You're not going to talk to some VA overseas. I don't have a problem with it, but
Mhm.
it's your data, it's your information, it's your credit card. And for that reason, we try to give you options to find high quality companies. I love them both. I use them both because PropStream to me is like an all-in size fits one. It's really simple and it's very affordable. It's much cheaper than an employee. Batch offers you, in my opinion, more sophisticated levels. So Batch, you'll find a lot of more advanced people use. Batch is superior in skip tracing. Don't get me in trouble, PropStream. It just is.
Right.
And I love competing companies because we all benefit. You understand, when I first did skip tracing, it was $1.50 per number. Per number. So if I got 3 numbers, it almost cost me $5 just to get that one. So it was extremely painful. Now we're down to, you know where we're down to. We're down in the
Yeah. 12
pennies, it feels
cents.
like. 12 cents, which is absolutely amazing. So number one, start with your list. I don't have time to go through everything on it,
Yeah.
but what I'd like you to do, if you want to jump back on this during this week, is look at all the list type and look at all your filters, any type of filters you use,
Mhm.
and let's make sure it's right. Because that to me, so start with the list. That's the easiest. And then I would call the data company and I would call their customer service and walk through and have them list. And sometimes they'll give you credit or, hey, and sometimes I've made a mistake. So I made a mistake, ready for this, on 12,000 skip trace numbers. I sent the wrong list. I sent an old list. I guess I did a wrong file. I meant to switch it to a CSV and I sent an Excel. And then my employee said, send it over because we were in a rush and I wasn't paying attention. Batch actually caught me it and they're like, don't make this happen again. I'm not guaranteeing that to
Right.
anyone, but they are highly reputable companies. And that's why I like them. I don't have to ever worry about being scammed. If you need to cancel, you guys can get out. If you guys want to add additional services, you can do it. They're not investors trying to be data people. They are data people understanding investors, and they're very good at it now. They have enough data. So start with your list,
Okay.
then contact the data company, and then jump on a live with me or me and Zach. And I tell you, if you give me all that data, we can like dial in the numbers. And Zach, I can't rip you through the averages because I would be lying to you if I gave them to me.
Mhm.
Zach has them all internally memorized because he runs an entire staff that does it.
Okay.
I just look at the final numbers. So it's like, I know your number's wrong. Like it's
Yeah.
way low. So
That's
we
why
need
I
to
was like,
find.
I need to jump on.
Okay. So let's do that. Zach's going to be on the next 2 days and I'll be on Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
And between that time, we'll get it figured out. And I'll leave a note here for Zach and kind of let him know what's going on. But give me as much data as you can and we'll solve it in one call.
Okay. Sounds good.
That's like a
Thank you.
$10,000 call right there. But I'm just telling you, but look at the stuff I already told you and go ahead and attack that and see if we can figure any of that out for you. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks, I.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Crystal, you back?
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. I lost you. So I saved your space for you.
Thank you. I appreciate
Okay. So you're working on a deal. Is this your first deal?
This is my first deal.
Okay. What are you nervous about?
So the EMD, he wants 2,500 on the EMD, and I don't have that. And I know you always say we'll put it on the cash buyer, and he wants a 10-day inspection period. And this is my very first deal. Not only that, it's a triplex.
Okay.
So I don't know how to work those numbers with the triplex because when you're talking about ARV, it's a lot lower. Like my guy, this guy, the seller sold it for or bought it for 80K, and we're at 54 right now. So
Okay.
he's
What
taking major loss on
what
it. I'm just wondering, like, what
are you doing this locally or virtually?
locally, Michigan.
All right. Okay. What's the ARV on the triplex?
The ARV is at 38,000 ish. And that's, I can't find a lot of comps. That's going back almost a year. It's just tough to find those comps. And I could be wrong on them too.
So, okay. Sometimes us Florida guys have to wrap our heads around this.
Yeah.
So you're able to buy a triplex. You're saying the after repaired value is 38,000?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was about to say that can't be it. So if it was on the market on normal conditions and ready to go, what's the estimated value?
It would be 80,000.
Okay. And what does it need for repairs?
It's all set. It's just two of them are already rented out. The third one is going to be done when we close by the end of this month. So
okay, what are the rents on it?
$625 per. I pay the buyer would pay utilities, and that's it. Or no, water and sewer.
Okay, are they 2 1s, 1 1s?
2 1s.
One ones.
I'm sorry, no 1 1s.
All the same, roughly?
Yeah.
Okay. And you said 2 out of the 3 are rented?
Yeah, right now.
So the 2 are getting $625 each?
Correct.
Okay, and then one's vacant. And is that one just vacant by organically, mean somebody's lease ended or somebody moved out and they're waiting to move somebody else in?
They were remodeling it. This guy only had this property for a year. So
okay, so did he already remodeled it, right?
He said it's going to be finished. So it's not technically done, but that's why it's vacant, because he's remodeling it.
And would you say that so being everything that's going on the market is $625 a normal rental rate there in your market?
Yeah. It could
And then
be higher. I would say that's the low end.
You know, but let's assume rents might roll back a little bit with what's going on with our real estate. Maybe the new one gets like 650, 675 because it's freshly renovated, right?
Correct.
Okay. Let's just use the low number of 650. And by the way, I love doing like multis. They're just easier, to my opinion. So there, you realize there's 2 ways to calculate the value on this, right?
No.
So the first way is good old comps, right?
Right.
So plus 25. So the potential rent roll is basically, we would say 625 for those 2 and then 650 if he's renovating it. That should be no issue. I don't think that's a pie in the sky. So the cash flow should be $1,900. Does that make sense to you? 625 plus 625 plus 650.
Okay.
1,900. You with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So when you did the ARV, did you find comps and that's how you came up with the 80?
Yes, that's how I came with my, yeah.
And how's the neighborhood around this? Is it like a really rough neighborhood? Is it average? Like there's a lot of multis in the area?
There's a lot of multis. It's not the best neighborhood. It's but it's not the worst. We'll just say that.
Okay. And there's no repairs that you can tell of. And so what was your so do you have a contract on it?
I'm supposed to do it up in about an hour or two. So no contract up.
So what's your verbal agreement with them roughly?
It is 55,000, and he said he'll knock off $1,000 if I add on another $1,000 to the EMD, which I agree to. So it's a $2,000. So it's 49. Or wait, hold on. It's
54, right?
54 now. Yeah, because we agreed on 55, but he said he'll knock off 1,000 if I add in another $2,000 EMD.
And how did you find this lead?
I found it by cold calling property a tired landlords list on PropStream.
Okay. And do you believe is he an older gentleman?
He's a young guy. He owns over 20 properties. He lives in North Carolina and he owns a lot throughout Michigan. So he wants to do it before the end of the year. Is that for tax reasons? Is he trying to just offload some property, you think?
Yeah. So remember, December's the month everyone makes a decision. So I told December's usually one of your better wholesaling months. Can you give me an estimated age? Because I'm trying to help you as much as I possibly can.
He's probably in his early 30s.
Okay, so a smart guy investing on,
Yeah.
and I could care less what he paid for it. What did he give you as the true motivation for selling it, other than tax purposes?
He didn't say. He just is very adamant about closing it before the end of this year.
Okay, and then did you look at what the tax bill on this thing is roughly a year?
Yeah, it's going to be around 1,400 a year.
And then what about, what the insurance runs on it?
Would we say that was we're roughly, it's around 1,300.
Okay, let's just call it 1,400. So, and then you said about utilities. Who pays for them?
I only pay sewer and water, and they pay, the renters pay the utility.
Electric.
Yeah, electric.
And what's the average water bill? Do you know? Like, did you look at that?
I did. So I don't know how does that work out when the utilities come in for a triplex? Do they split all of that, or is it just
if the landlord's paying for it, which is that's what he said, correct?
Yeah. So it's a whole
basically they're included, so it's unlimited water. Now let's be realistic. They're 1-1s. So what you can do is, I would ask for data because he has it. How long do you own this property for?
1 year.
So ask for the water bills for the last 12 months.
Okay.
Get a hard number because you're eating it. Like whoever buys it, I promise you your cash buyers are going to ask you for this. And if you only have a 10-day window, you don't have 2-3 days for him to wait to send it to you.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to assume it's probably $35 a month per unit. I'm just guessing. So is it the same utility company you use for your own home, or is it like a completely different one?
Yeah, it is.
So how many people you got living in your house?
3.
And what's your average water bill?
It's comes out, they break it down to
like $100?
3.
It's like $100 a month.
$100 a month. Yeah.
So I come up with 35. So you kind of see how I did that. So let's just say we'll even do a conservative, say it's 90. So 90 times 12, that's basically $1,080 a year.
Okay.
So the total cost to run this property is $1,080 plus 2,800. So basically just under $4,000, $3,900, $3,880 to be exact.
Okay.
So here's what we do. On a perfect world, let me put my screen up here. I've been actually taking notes. This is just easier because sometimes it's just visual. If you take this 1,900, which is what? The cash flow, right?
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
1,900 times 12 is 22,800. Now, if I was a bank, which I'm not a bank, they would multiply that by 0.80%. You know why?
Why?
because they're factoring in vacancies. The banks want to always cover their butt.
Okay.
I'm just giving you how like people underwrite these deals. To me, with a triplex, I would probably do closer to 90% or 85 to 90, because you're saying it doesn't need repairs. So occasionally somebody moves out and then you got to replace it. But a lot of times you can make it up by raising the rent. It could go the other way. So we have 18,240. Then we just minus off the expenses, which is what, 3,880?
Yes.
Oops, 3. So 14,360. Now I'm going to be honest with you, 80 is aggressive. Like that's a bank. They want to cover all their bases. Most investors won't even discount it. They'll just move the 22 and calculate it over there. So there's one or two ways you can do the math. You could take, if you took 22,800 minus the 3,880, that gives you a net of 18,920. Okay. If I do it the bank's way, which is more conservative, you're going to come up with a net of 14,360. So have you ever heard of a cap rate?
Briefly, I don't understand it though.
Well, I'm giving you an entire exercise on it. So all you have to do is put your price below it, and then that'll equate you to the cap rate. So if you're going to offer 54,000 on this one, divided by 54,000, that gives you a cap rate of 35%. If I do the conservative bank model, which is a little bit more realistic, divided by 54,000, that's going to give you around 26%. Now, I'm going to be honest with you, these are phenomenal numbers you're showing me, and like they're insane. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a warning here because I've been down this road before. Mm-hmm. Number one, he's young. The word tired landlord and young is not applicable in my book. Now, I've been tired. I got tired at 38, 39. Like, trust me, I was choking on 27 properties during that ridiculous market shift. So I became a tired landlord really quick. Right. I'm going to give you a little teaching thing. Whenever the cap rate is too high, a lot of times it's telling you you have a risk involved in this transaction. Now, you're not buying it, but the cash buyer is going to buy it. The risk is probably going to be the neighborhood and possibly the crime rate. Okay. I don't know those factors. Only you are going to know them. Why is this important? Because the riskier an asset is, it means you could whoever the end buyer is, it means they can risk all their capital. True story. I bought an apartment complex in a very rough part of town because the bank almost gave it to me. So I think I picked up around 20 grand. I had to put 50 into it. I fixed it up. It was beautiful. Guess what? A year and a half later, it got burnt to the ground.
Oh gosh.
And then I did the research. The property after the fact, like a dumbass, the property had the same problem for the last 15 years. I thought I could take the challenged neighborhood out of the property. I couldn't. And it just went back. So what I want you to do is look at the property appraisers. I know you have some help there with you. Can somebody pull it up and tell me how many owners there's been over the last 10 years? And this is going to help you give you your final answer. If you see a ton of turnover on this property, it means you're going to have the exact same problem or your end buyer is going to have it. And that's the challenge. I think 10 days is nuts. But if you're going to do the 10 days and you understand it, but the problem is he's requiring an EMD, which you don't have, and you're being transparent about it. And I appreciate your honesty, is you have to convince a cash buyer really quick. So the only term that you need to negotiate is when is the EMD due? So I get it. He gave you a little discount. You gave him more EMD. I would make it on the contingency the EMD is not due till the 10th day.
On the 10th.
And then go find out and see what a cash buyer will pay you for this. But if I'm giving you the eyes of what a cash buyer looks at. Okay. And I want you to understand this. You learn from it. When I see high ARVs above 25%, I know I'm walking into a high crime neighborhood and a challenged property. And the fact that he's a younger man even makes me more like not nervous, but like, okay, what am I really getting here? And so you're new at it. I think he probably has a little bit more reasons why he's not selling it. I think he's having problems with the property.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
think there's probably did he have this on the open market, or you just called him
No,
off the tired
I
landlord list?
I called him. He says if this one goes through, I have like 3 more properties back to back. So I just,
So here's what I would do. Let me sum this up for you. Your numbers are phenomenal if it's not in one of the worst crime areas in America. And I don't know that, only you know that. Let me ask you this. Honestly, would you drive there at night right now?
I would not drive there at night.
Okay. Would you let a male counterpart do it? And like someone that you loved and like were very like part of your family, would you let them go there, a grown man go there at night? Say like a husband, boyfriend, anything like that?
Well, yeah.
But would you be nervous?
Yeah, I'd be a little
Okay.
I'd have my head on a swivel.
So I've gone through this exact scenario.
Yeah.
And I'm just telling you, my wife, you say, it's ridiculous the amount of stuff that you have to go through to do some of these properties. I'm like, because a lot of my renters would pay in cash, and I would have to, when I was younger, I'd have to go and pick it all up in cash in the evening. And during daylight savings hour, it was really hard for me to do and run my wholesaling business. So, the numbers are phenomenal. Here's the little tip I'm going to give you. Give them the EMD thing and just let them know after the inspection, I'll be happy to do that.
Okay.
That's it. Like, because if you can't find a cash buyer and quick, the numbers are phenomenal. The question is, will the cash buyer put up with the area? And only you are going to know that answer. But you did an excellent job. And then if you go to the last live I did, which I believe was Friday, was all about the tired landlord.
Okay.
So you can actually go back and review that. But your numbers are right. Like I'm just scared we're missing something here. So
I am too. Yeah.
Look at the history of the property. How old is the property?
Like it's 150 years old.
Okay, so you have plenty of history on this property. So go take a look at it. Look at the history. If you see like a new owner every year, every other year, just understanding it's going to be a challenge.
Okay.
So when I look at these properties and a wholesaler brings it to me like this, my sweet spot is like 20 to 24, 25. After 25, I'm like, dude, what are you hiding from me? Like, how am I going to get killed when I go to the property? What's going to happen? And that's because, remember, let me ask, if I went to you and go, hey, Crystal, I have an investment. It's 100% guaranteed, and I'll give you a 10% return, and you get your money back in a year. Are you in? You'd probably say, yeah, that sounds great. Now, hey, Crystal, I have an investment for you. It pays about 35 to 40%, and you sit back and do nothing. Are you still in? What are you going to do?
What's wrong with it?
You're going to ask questions, right? That's what a smart investor does. So you're perfect in everything else you're doing. Do you understand how we analyze the numbers here?
I do.
So I just gave you how to calculate the cap rate for a cash flowing property. Why? Because this number and this number, a cap rate is nothing more than an ROI. You know what an ROI is, right? It's return on investment.
Okay. Yep.
So if I gave you $100 at this cap rate at the end of the year, I would either owe you $135 back or $126 back. You'd be like, dude, that's all I need to do. Let me give you $10,000. Let me give you $100,000. Like, it would never stop. So you know what on average does a S&P market on average over a 10-year period give an investor on average, you think? You don't have to be right. I'm just giving you an idea what risk is.
Like 60?
No. So on average, it would be usually around 10%.
Oh, okay.
8 to 10%. Remember, they're taking risk with that. And right now they're down 25, 30%. So if that's a market where it's free, but it's risky, and understanding on its best average is around like 15%, you got to understand where people like how, and here's the first thing people like, am I breaking any laws? And am I going to get my money back when it's all said and done? So whenever someone does some type of scam, they're not this, I'm not saying this is a scam, but when people pull the wolves over your eye, how do they entice you to invest? How do you think all like these crypto things and stuff that took everybody's money, how did they entice them?
By just showing them how much.
Yeah, they gave them an unrealistic return that they were never going to get. What they didn't realize is they were utilizing those people's personal capital to go out and make risky ventures. And if the risky venture hits, guess what? The investors get paid and they look like a hero. If the investments don't pay off, what's their worst case scenario? I'm just going to call bankruptcy and call it a day, right?
Yeah.
But now hopefully someone will go to jail for that, because I think that's ludicrous that people do stuff like that. So I'm here to tell you, I've given you everything, honestly, and you have the right information. Negotiate when you deliver that EMD, and that is a tip that is invaluable. And make sure pushing forward, try to get 30 days on everything going forward. The market's only going to get worse. The fact that it doesn't need repairs is a huge plus. If you have you verified that, or is that what he's told you?
I have not verified it.
Okay.
It's just what he said.
So sometimes these gals and gals are infamous to tell you what you want to hear as opposed to what is actually going on to it. So hopefully maybe he could send you pictures or something in the property or something like that, but put it under contract. Your only condition is to negotiate when the EMD is delivered, because I don't want you giving $2,500 up front to a deal you don't know if it's going to work. You might have a good shot. In a normal market, you would have hit this out of the park. So you're on the right path, and just keep doing what you're doing. So I've given you two things. You can calculate what we call a cap rate, which is nothing more than an ROI, return on investment, because that's how cash buyers and landlords evaluate if they're going to buy something. The other one is a comp. So you can easily sell this attractively on a 35% cap rate. You have the numbers, I already gave them to you. 18,920 divided by 54K gives you a 35% cap rate. You might freak some investors out on that number. So what I would do is change your occupancy rate to 90%. Okay. Let me put it up here for you. I would change this to a 90%, and you'll be somewhere here in the middle. 35 is crazy. Like, I'm just going to be like, I think a lot of experienced landlords are going to freak out with that number. Right. I'd be like, oh God, please. So when are you meeting with him?
Well, I'm not meeting with him at all. He's in North Carolina. So it's going to be all on my discretion. So, I do already have a cash buyer lined up, and he told me the way he looks at it is he looks at 10 months worth of profit and 1 month's worth of insurance and 1 month's worth of taxes. That's the way he calculates his deals.
Okay. Then just reverse engineer and see what number comes up.
Okay.
And then ask him this question: what is your criteria for a yes or no?
Okay.
And then that gives you the ability, if you had to, you could renegotiate or do something like that. Because remember, you got 10 days since an inspection period. So you cannot waste 1 day. You got to figure out by really next Monday, this time, if that deal is going to work or not. Do not wait till the 9th or 10th day, because these guys and gals go MIA when you do these types of deals, right, and they freak out. Okay. Okay.
I appreciate
you got it.
Yeah. All right.
Does it all make sense? Do you have any questions? I don't want to leave you hanging out there.
Well, I can do this. I got this. Thank you.
You have it. Just make the offer. If it sticks, it sticks. It's great. It's great. He's being a little bit of a pain in the butt with the EMD. Yeah. So remember, whenever a seller asks you for something, you have to ask for something in return. Everything has to be in exchange, because like if I keep asking like Crystal for stuff and you keep complying, I'm going to keep going until you say no to me.
Right.
That's what business is really about. And sometimes you got to go, wait a minute, I'll give you this, but you got to give me this in return. That's a normal conversation, right?
Right. Yeah.
So we do this with young kids. So when Zach was young, I used to like, okay, you finish your dinner, and then we'll have the toys, or we'll go by the toy store or something like that. If you finish your homework, then we'll go out to the park and we'll have fun. Do the same thing with your sellers. If you just give, they like, oh, they're a pushover. I'll make them do whatever I want. You got to assert yourselves, and this is the best way to do it. So I think you have it. If not, Zach's going to be on the next few days, and I'll be on Thursday, Friday. So if you need some help, let me know.
Absolutely. I appreciate you.
Okay. Thanks. Awesome. That was a fun one, wasn't it? LaBonna, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
How you doing?
Good. Kind of stressed out about this property I have under contract in Detroit.
I don't want to hear about stress out. Like, I think we're spending all our time in Michigan today. So this is like dedicated to all the Michigan people. So what are you stressed about? What are you stressed about in particular?
Okay. So, the property that I have under contract, he wanted $40,000 for it. I was able to get it at 28, but
Uh-huh.
I wasn't able to, like, every buyer that I talked to was saying it was priced too high for the repairs that was needed in the area. So I asked him, can
What
he
kind of
do
repairs does it need? How much you think?
it needs a full rehab. I think for that, like I think it was like 50,000, maybe 60,000 in repairs, but the after repair value was 70,000.
Okay, so the after repair is 70, and you think it needs probably around 50.
Yeah.
So you know where you need to
Like,
be. You're at 28. You're nowhere near to make it work. I'm just being honest with you.
exactly.
It just
Yeah.
doesn't work.
So
But here's the good news: it ain't gonna work for anybody else either at that price.
I know.
So do you have it under contract right now?
Yeah, like I told him, I asked him, can he do 20? And he said if I do 20, can I pay his water bill that was I think it was 900, and
Okay.
then his tax bill that was 1,200. And I'm like, it's like 24. It's like still wouldn't work though.
No,
For
you
the
got it. You got it. Listen, you got to understand that the biggest challenge is when you have big rehabs, and to me, it's not a big property. And I know Detroit has some challenges.
Mhm,
You got to incentivize a cash buyer to buy it. So here's what I
mhm.
would do: is how many cash buyers have you talked to?
I would say about 8.
Okay, and what's the
And
consensus of what they would pay for it? Highs and lows.
so they never gave me the amount they'll pay for it. I did talk to a realtor and she
So
said,
here's what you're going to do. You're going to
okay,
call them all back and see what they would offer you on that property, on that
okay.
type of property. Don't give them the address. Just if they need a picture or two or whatever, come up.
Mhm.
And what did the realtor say?
She said that it has to be lower as well. I think she said 15,000,
Yeah,
but
that's
he's acting like he don't want to move at all on the price.
okay. Well, he has that option because what's going on with the property now?
I mean, it's vacant and all
Yeah.
those repairs that's needed.
Yeah, it's his net number is only going to go down. So I always talk to everybody about how to market the current market conditions, how to use it in your marketing. Your conversation is like it has to be like, listen, just let you know we're in a declining market, interest rates are rising, cash buyers are coming hard to find by, and the inflation is just driving the cost of repairs even higher. The water bill is only accruing with interest. They'll probably put a lien on the property if they can in that city. I don't know. He's got a tax bill. He hasn't insured at all on it.
Mhm.
This net gain is only going to get worse as time goes by. And I'm here to
Okay.
tell you guys, I want everybody to understand on the stream, the real estate market is not going to correct overnight. Real estate markets have one thing in common. They go down slow and they come back even slower. I will guarantee you this. I've been through this exact scenario. I honestly think for the next at all of 2023, his number will only be less. So what I would do is just put him on what I call your stalking leads. I would end it nicely. And here's my strategy. Are you within your cancellation rights?
Yeah, well, I actually, like, when I got the feedback from all those buyers, I called and told them, like, you're not being able to go down on this price. I said, we're going to have to cancel this contract.
Yeah.
But then he texted me back like 2 days later, like, are you sure you don't want to buy it?
Yeah, it's not going to go anywhere. So what you need to do right now is save face with the buyer. What I would do is you can just say, here's the strategy. When you need a massive price reduction, you can't ask for it right off the bat because, hey, what, you screwed up. No big deal. You tried. And I love you for that. So here's what you do. You call them up and go, listen, where do I send the cancellation letter to? And don't say another word. Why? Why do you think we're doing that?
To cover ourselves
Well, that's number one. That's the
and
legalities of it.
for
But
him to try to negotiate at a lower price.
so when you know you got to cover a large gap because it's such a small ARV,
Hmm.
is you have to shift the mindset. So if you go in, Mr. Seller, I just need a price reduction. He's like, okay, we'll knock $2,000 off of it. Be careful what you ask for because you might get it. So
Okay.
listen, it doesn't wait. And here you have to be emotional about this.
Okay.
So be kind of like my wife. Hopefully she's not watching. Like when she wants something, she gets a little theatrical. Honey, you know what happened? I'm like, oh my God, what happened? Are the kids all right over there? She's like, I didn't get my discount when I was at the drugstore. I'm like, really? All that for that? And the thing is, I was set up for the worst. Like, who got diagnosed? Like, who's in the hospital? No. It was something minor. They wouldn't honor my coupon. You got to do the same thing. You go, listen, where do I send the cancellation over? And he goes,
Okay.
I don't understand what's going on. I go, listen, I've looked at this thing every which way. This thing is a disaster. And honestly, I can't even come close to making the numbers right. Inflation's through the roof. The real estate market it's getting less and less. And by the time this property gets done, I don't know where the value is going to wind up on it. And for that reason, I just need to get out. I just don't see any way to make this work. Shut up. He's going to take a few times, and you want to hopefully hear words like this. Well, what are you thinking? Or something like that. Now you could start a whole new negotiations. You have to let him have amnesia on that offer you wrote him because it ain't the right one. And he's going to stick to that and anchor it. So you want to get a separation. You're better off sending a cancellation and then reaching them out right before New Year's and go, I'm thinking about it. I just think I offered you the wrong price. I want to help solve you. Would you be open to like, I don't know, like 10 grand? He's going to say no to it and just try to find 15, see if you can get it to work. But you have to separate your link to your current contract. And whenever you guys have a giant price disparity, you're better off just saying, where do I send the cancellation over, and wait for a response. And if they go, send it over there, like it's probably not a good thing and you're probably not going to get another. But if they start haggling with you, what you're doing is you're basically pulling back from that seller. And remember the old story is like when you let the dog out back and your dog doesn't come back, like mine never comes back. The minute I go out there chasing him, like it's a wild goose chase. The minute I come in and slam that door, when he hears the click of that door, he's scratching at the door to get in. You have to do the same thing with the seller. You got to go, listen, this is it, buddy. That's it. And then see if you can elicit a response. If you can, now you have a fresh new negotiating. But like, don't beat yourself off for making the wrong offer. I'd rather you try than do nothing. And I want everybody to understand that on this live. I'd rather you try than do nothing. Okay? So you're learning. So the idea is you want to make money while you learn. You're doing it the correct way. So don't beat yourself up. It's okay. That's why you're talking to me. We'll fix it. So I love what you're doing. Just, do you understand does it make sense what I'm telling you?
Yeah, I just wish that I just had, like, even though I did talk to a lot of buyers, I just wish that I had that more of a relationship where, I could just send them deals and it'll just be easy breezy. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, listen, I'd like to sip on the beach and suck down a few mocktails and flip houses with the 70% offer formula, but I know that ain't going to work, period.
Yeah.
So we have to, like, the problem, guys, is summing this up is the 70% rule does not take in the reality of what sellers will accept for their property. They want 90. Cash buyers would bend over backwards to do 70. I'm telling you, cash buyers in this market will go up to 76, possibly to 83 if you're one of those high-end markets, California or New York, because the deals are hard to come by there. And when you get the bigger numbers, there's bigger spreads and it will work. So do what I said. I'm telling you, it'll work. It will at least give you an option. Okay. So do you know how, like, do you follow football at all?
Kinda.
Yeah. So you know when the team's like really behind and they score like that last minute touchdown and they need like a miracle and there's only like 50 seconds left on the clock. What do they do after they score the touchdown? They line up. What's the only play they can do to even have a shot? Because remember, they don't get the ball. The other team gets the ball.
They just try to tackle on really quick before they make a touchdown.
They have to do an onside kick. You know the probability of an onside kick are? Because the NFL has changed the rules. It's like an 8%. It's like a 6% probability it'll happen. I think it's down to like 3% this year. You have to give it a shot because every now and then it works and the team scores a touchdown and wins the game. I want you to win the game. You might as well take a shot. You're behind on the scorecard. The worst case scenario is you get a 0 and you move on and go to the next game, which is the next seller. Okay? You got to promise me you're going to try it before you hang up.
Okay, question.
Yes.
So do you think that okay, you said call the buyers back. Do you think I should and just see what they want to offer for this property, or do you think I should just keep going to try to find a buyer?
Well, I would take just one time, and if you have all the data back, I don't think you need to call them all back. I'd call like 3 of them back, 3 that will
Okay.
talk to you, and then take your realtor's advice and find where that number lies, and then go back with the cancellation technique and try to get him to counter to get him to chase you a little bit so you can renegotiate a fair contract.
Do you guys have a cancel of the contract on your website?
You can look on there. I have to look, but honestly, if you send a formal, so have you met him in person or is it all online?
All online. I'm in Ohio.
So you could suffice it. So read your contract carefully, because we deal with a lot of variations on these.
Mm-hmm.
Is just look under the inspection period and then figure out how you need to deliver notice. People have
Okay.
some crazy contracts where you got to deliver it in person. Mine aren't like that, but remember, there's variations over the years. So if you've dealt with him online, he's done everything online, you can simply probably send over like a letterhead with your name, number, contract information, contract date, and the parties, and say, the inspection period allows me to exit in this within this time frame. I am deciding to get out of this contract that does not meet my standards. Please accept this letter as formal acceptance of me canceling this contract within my inspection period.
Okay.
And if not, go back to the replay around 141. That's where I kind of set it on there. So it's a lot of people like, oh, I thought it cancels automatically when you call. I would never, ever trust a call on a cancellation of a contract. You have to formally show it, because if you ever question, you have to document it, right?
Okay. Do he have to sign the contract?
No,
Okay.
absolutely not. An
'Cause I did.
inspection is a one-sided to get out, but you got to honor the time. So if it was
Okay.
10 days, you got to do it within the 10 days. I never wait till the 10th day, and I don't even wait till the 9th day.
I
By
think it
day
was like
7,
I
I'm
think it
out.
was like the third day I had told him I wanted to cancel the contract, and I sent him the contract, but I had put cancel contract all on it. Like that doesn't matter.
You need to find out. So what was your inspection period? How many days?
It was a 10-day inspection period.
Okay, so are you past that right now?
No, I think I'm still in it. I think I'm probably in like the 7th or 8th day.
Okay, I would go ahead and just prepare a very simple letter that
Okay.
basically does that and scan it. And I would have the conversation with him, unless he gives you a Hail Mary, like I'll redo it and change the price, send it over. And
Okay.
then go back and follow up. And remember, end it on good terms so you have a shot to renegotiate. Nobody else is going to buy that property. So you have an example of what we call a motivated property and not a motivated seller. A motivated property we want to keep on our follow-up
Mhm.
until the seller becomes motivated. And what's the one thing that turns a non-motivated seller into a motivated seller?
The price?
Time.
Oh, time. Okay.
Time. I mean, that's it. So we both got time, right? So this market's not getting any better. So it's not going to anybody else.
Okay.
And then you can call them back and just go, hey, listen, did you ever sell that property? You can call them like 2 weeks later, right before New Year's. Definitely this year. And then strike up a conversation. And then what you want to do is hear some pain from them. Like, you know what? I've tried. This thing's been under contract 4 or 5 times. And then that's when I'd say, listen, are you ready to get this thing sold? Like really solve the problem. But he has to accept it. You can't make him do it. Time and circumstances, the only thing will change someone that has a motivated property and they're not motivated to have them become a motivated seller.
Okay. So what if he agrees to the 10,000 and he say, "Oh, well, I'll agree to the 10,000, but will you pay the tax bill and the water bill?" What
do
do
the
I say?
calculation, but I think 10,000 would be more than enough to compensate it for it. But put a cap on what you would owe on it. I've entered in a deal like this, and I had a water bill that I was told was $1,200. It came in at $4,800, and it was a nightmare. And I said on there, I will pay your water bill. So I will pay up to a maximum. So if it exceeds that, you're not on the hook. So have him tell you, okay, the water bill is $900, my tax bill is $800. Go, okay, whatever, 9, 8. That was at $1,600. Go, I will pay the water bill and the tax bill up to $1,600 and no more.
Okay.
Because if it comes in like 4 times that, you go, you say you pay the water bill. I'm like, oh no, I got limits on what I'm going to pay. Always put a limit on your additional stuff. Sometimes even closing costs, guys. You got to be careful what you promise for. On tight deals, you include the closing cost. It can wreck your deal for your cash buyers.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay.
You got
Thank
it.
you.
Go do it. Okay. See you. Okay, guys. If you guys got value from this, make sure you like this video. Please make sure that everyone's subscribed. Make sure you are subscribed to the Rick Ginn channel. You guys can check out my son over on Zach Ginn. And on the bottom, go over to freewholesaling.com if you want to learn how to get your first deal and get to your first $100,000. Me and Zach teach this 100% free because we want to help out as many people as humanly possible. I know exactly the experiences you guys go through. There is a lot of just crazy people out there teaching courses. Some are decent, but for the most part, they are trying to flip you. They are not flipping houses. Make sure you don't become part of that formula. Guys, join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Zach will be on, and I will join you guys later in the week. Guys, I appreciate it, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.